We're just a couple of councillors down. I'll just give it a few seconds, let them get back in. Thank you. Thanks, Graham. Right, thanks for that, folks. We're going to carry on. Excuse me, and I think, and keep me right, we're at item 10, Ayrshire Shared Services Joint Committee. Appointments 4, and we appoint a chair. Okay. Leader.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Thanks. Where did we get to? Shared services. Right, so the Shared Services Joint Committee, we'd agreed 2, 1 and 1. Myself and Councillor McMahon, and 1 from the Labour Group, 1 from the Conservative Group. Ayrshire Regional Economic Joint Committee, 2 and 1, plus substitutes. So I don't know if you need name substitutes, but the main members, myself and Councillor Maitland, and 1 from the Labour Group. The Ayrshire Regional Economic Partnership, 2 from our group, myself and Claire Maitland, and 1 from the Labour Group. And the Integration Joint Board, that would be 2 members, myself and Elaine Cowan, and 1 from the Labour Group, 1 for the Conservative Group. The Community Planning Partnership Board, myself, Elaine Cowan and Neil Ingram, plus 2 from the Labour Group. The Corporate Parenting would be Jim McMahon and Claire Leach from my group, 1 from the Labour Group and 1 from the Conservative Group. The Children and Young People's Cabinet would be Claire Leach, Deputy Provost Claire Leach, and 1 from the Labour Group, 1 from the Conservative Group. The Equalities Forum, we're doing it 4-2-1. That would be Claire Leach, Jim Todd, Beverly Clark, and Willie Lennox, 2 from the Labour Group, 1 from the Conservative Group. The Cross-Party Sounding Group as it's laid down. The Gambling Harms, we're asking if we can increase that committee to 7. We've got all the committees down here, we're asking if we can put them all to 7, and they'll all be 3, 2, 1 and 1. And from the Gambling Harms, the 3 from one group would be Claire Maitland, Willie Lennox and Stephen Canning, 2 from the Labour Group, 1 for the Conservative Group, and Sally Cogley to continue to chair that group as well. And climate change would be Graham Barton, Claire Leach and Jennifer Hogg, with Graham Barton chairing, and 2 from the Labour Group, 1 from the Conservative Group and Councillor Ellen Friel. And the Local Development Plan, Claire Maitland to chair, Elaine Cowan, Willie Lennox, and Drew Filson from the Independents, and 2 from the Labour Group and 1 from the Conservative Group. Okay. Well, I'm good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Everybody okay with that? And I took it as read that Councillor Mackay and Councillor McFadden will populate a later date. No, that's very kind. Over the page, folks, is the updated meetings calendar from August right through to December. Thanks very much, Julie. All that hard work. But as usual, sometimes things change, but these are the nominal dates we're going to use right up to December. Is that okay? We will not change if we don't need to. But sometimes we do. So thanks for that. On to item 8, and this is the educational member representation on the council's decision-making structure in respect of educational business. And I'm going to ask David to introduce this report. Thank you, David.
Yeah, just briefly then, as for the benefit, I'm conscious we've got some new members. The overall makeup of cabinet over and above the council appointments also involves various other appointments and invitations to appoint to outside bodies. The overall position with cabinet is when it deals with educational matters, then it also requires to be populated with a representative from the Church of Scotland, a representative from the Roman Catholic Church, a representative from any further religion or denomination in the area, and that one's done through a press advert. So the first two are fixed. The first is in the gift of the Church of Scotland. Second one's in the gift of the Roman Catholic Church. They nominate their reps. The third one is open to nominations through a press advert from any other religious groups or bodies or denominations to put forward and fill the third seat. Previously that was shouldn't have done that because his name's completely gone out of my head. A representative from the Muslim community was the third rep. We also, you have agreed as a council, there's no, trying to remember, there's no obligation of a teacher rep, but you've always agreed it's good to have a teacher rep in cabinet, and this paper also sets out the process in relation to that. And I believe at 5, as you'll know, you also have a parent rep when cabinet deals with education matters. And I think I saw an email just yesterday from a colleague, Christine Bailey, in which Jackie Livingston has confirmed that the parent council body have re-elected her. So it'll be Jackie Livingston would be the parent rep to cabinet. So you're also asked to note that the previous teacher rep has agreed to continue to fill the vacancy until we can go out through the formal process to recruit the next teacher rep. And any appointments or those appointments that you've been asked to note and or make or to agree a process to lead to an appointment, they would all be for the life of this council's decision-making body and the current council, subject to their own eligibility. And also asking you to note there at 8 that if the council's decision-making body has, due to exceptional circumstances, referred an item of educational business to the council to determine, then they should be invited to attend and participate with full voting rights. They need to be involved when the council or cabinet make decisions in education rather than just be at cabinet. That's the last point. So against that background, it's really noting most of that members through you, Provost, and agreeing to remit to myself to now initiate the process by which we would invite the education cohort to elect their own future teacher representative to cabinet. So those are the recommendations, and it's over to you, Provost, to the members.
Thanks, David. Members, we're okay with that. Sorry, Councillor Boyd.
Thanks, Provost. Having been the teacher rep, I'm really delighted, you're continuing the teacher rep and the parent rep, because these roles bring in expertise and information from parents and from the classroom. And also, it's good to confirm the 5 of them have got the full voting rights as well, yeah. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That's very good, but just thought I'd add that in there. Thank you.
No, thanks. For new councillors, these representatives on cabinet can only vote on educational matters, and it's very, very clear. Just to clear that up, it's very clear, and they take an active and full participation within the educational matters in cabinet. So they're really important roles, and they're made very welcome. So we're okay with the recommendations, folks. Thank you. Item 9. Is the appointments to outside organisations, 81 to 85, and last leader to start off. Thanks, Dougie.
Thanks, Provost. Just pray for your patience here. APSE would have Councillor McMahon, be a representative. Ayrshire Valuation Joint Board, it would be 3 SNP, 2 from the Labour Group, and our ones would be Canning, Lennox and Hogg. The Community Justice Authority would be Beverly Clark and I think a substitute member from the Labour Group. The Citizens Advice Bureau would be 2 and 1, and that would be Jennifer Hogg and Neil Ingram. The licensing board would be Claire Leach, David Richardson, Elaine Cowan, Graham Barton and Stephen Canning. The Ayrshire Leisure Trust would be Claire Maitland and Ian Linton. Sorry, it would be 2-1-1, 2-1-1 and 1 for that one. So that's one from the Conservative group, one, and Graham Boyd from the Independents on that one, and one from the Conservative group and one for the Labour group. East Ayrshire Sports Council, Elaine Cowan, Claire Maitland, and one from the Labour group, one from the Conservative group. I mean Claire Leach, sorry for the Sports Council. Did I say Claire Maitland? Claire Leach, too many Claires, sorry. The Kilmarnock Leisure, did I say the Sports Council? I've done that. The Leisure Centre Trust, 5 elected members, again 2-1-1 and 1, and that'd be Ian Linton to chair with Claire Maitland, and one from the Labour group, one for the Conservative group, and Graham Boyd.
Use provost through you. The provost is ex officio on the
Right.
leisure trust, so one of those is taken in terms of the trust deed itself. It needs to be the provost.
Right, so that'd be okay. So Ian Linton, Claire Maitland and the provost, and one from the Labour group, one for the Conservative. Was that okay? And the Ayrshire and Arran Health Board, that'd be myself. Scotland Excel, Stephen Canning and a member from the Labour group. Strathclyde Concessionary Travel Scheme, Neil Ingram and a member of the Labour group. SPT, Willie Lennox and the substitute from the Labour group. Archibald Taylor. Is that 4-2-1? Where do we get? 3. It's 2-1-1, make it. No.
Don't know what to do about, Craig. It would be 3.0625 seats for SNP. It would be 2.1875 seats for Labour. It would be 0.875 seats for the Conservative group, and it would be 0.21875 seat for each of the 4 individual members, whether they be independent or belonging to a party or group of 1. So that would be 3.06, 2.18 or 2.2 and 0.8. So again, rounding up, it would be 4, it would be 2, it would be 1, which gets you 7.
Okay.
Sorry, no, it would be 3, it would be 2, and it would be 1, which gets you 6. And as I said, the formula doesn't provide perfect solutions, so you've got 1 left.
And it's Kilmarnock and is it just Kilmarnock members?
Oof. I think it is, yeah. I've never been to it.
Yeah, Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock and Loudoun.
Kilmarnock.
It's not the whole of Command Lown, it's the Kilmarnock. If you want, we could, have you got that handy, Julie? It should be in the scheme of Dales. If you want to, that's the last one. If you just give us a moment.
Sure. Councillor Mackay, do you want to come in just now? Do you want to wait to David's?
Thank you. It was
Sure.
just to raise the point that's already been dealt with or is being dealing with. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just signed Alan Power.
Just going to ask Christine to just confirm who the previous members were, and that'll give us the awards, because we don't have the stipulation of the awards, but we have the previous membership. Christine, if you could just confirm who it was previously.
Yep, thanks, David. So we had councillors Helen Coffey, Tom Cook, Fiona Campbell, John Campbell, Maureen Mackay, John Knapp and Alison Simmons.
So it's only certain wards. Do you want to, Provost, through you, do you want to, because there are other appointments to be made,
Yeah.
so there is a judgment whether it's urgent or not, so we could bring this back to the next council with that clarification, because I don't think the Archibald Taylor Trust will fall between now and the council in June. Sorry, Councillor Mackay, through you, Provost.
Councillor Mackay, yeah.
Thank you very much, Provost, and I'm sure officers will keep me right here. My understanding was that I think there was potential that this was viewed as urgent, because I think there was a submission to the Archibald Taylor Fund that had not been able to be dealt with because of election timing. So I think that must have been the reason that this was brought forward at this time. So I think there is a degree of urgency about that, Provost.
Oh, thanks for enlightening us with that, Maureen. What I'm suggesting, right, Leader?
I mean, we've got three, so we can go with Neil Ingram, Graham Barton and David Richardson.
That may be the way forward, Provost. If you agree the allocation and members are already comfortable with the approach of taking names later, we will confirm after the meeting if there are any restrictions. The current membership would obviously suggest not, because there's a member from the south, but we'll go and check that's correct. And we'll confirm if there are any restrictions or other parameters around about that before we get the names. But you've agreed the allocation of seats, and that does allow, if there is urgent business, it allows us to populate it before June. Thank you.
No, thanks, and thanks, Councillor Mackay, and suggest that officers and those members that populate that committee meet as soon as possible and get that business done. Is that okay, folks?
Provost, sorry, just before we go off this item, I think in terms of East Ayrshire Leisure Trust, we're also looking to require to appoint the chair to the trust.
Can I move Claire Maitland?
And
Okay, folks? Yep, sorry, David.
apologies, it's been one of those mornings. I should highlight, for the avoidance of doubt, in terms of urgent business in relation to the licensing board. Apologies to those who have been or are about to be appointed, but and this is one where the training is mandatory. It's stipulated externally by Scottish Government, by regulation, and I'm afraid the training is an external provider. You have to book your slots. The slot is booked for Monday. For the 10 members to be appointed to the board. But as ever, you'll be glad to know there is the study over the day and a small exam at the end, or a test, and that's invigilated. So we actually do need to confirm the 10 members of the licensing board to Scottish Government and Alcohol Focus, the training provider, by tomorrow, to allow them to make arrangements for Monday. So the licensing board is one where I would really appreciate for you, Provost, if we could have names just now from all parties or groups, so that we can fulfil that and set you up for the training. On the basis of a more balanced approach, those that are going on to the planning committee, I can advise that the planning committee schedule for the 27th of May is in the process of being stood down just now. So if you're on planning and licensing, you get a part reprieve.
Right, members, we need to populate the licensing board to facilitate the training on Monday. Councillor Mackay.
Could I just ask, again, there are 10 members on the licensing board. Is it possible if we had a nominee who was unable to do the training on Monday, would it be possible for them to have the training allocated at a further date?
There's 2 points I would say in response, Provost. One is yes, but they cannot sit in the board until they've done the training. And the second one would be, I cannot guarantee when we'll get a second slot or a sweep-up slot for any members. So yes, in principle, but I don't know when that would be. And that's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Provost, through you.
Yep, thanks for that. So I'm going to ask if we could get some names for Monday.
Okay, can I move Councillors Richardson's, Cowan, Barton, Ganning and Leach? And I think the suggestion is that Councillor Wilson, given the experience and licensing trade, be the chair.
Thanks for that. Okay, Drew. Good. Councillor Mackay.
Much. Councillor Crawford, Councillor Kyle, Councillor Jones and Councillor McGregor.
Thanks for that. Councillor McFadden.
We weren't going to put anyone forward for that if we could offer the seat to.
We've got 10. Well done. So you're all training on Monday. Thank you. Now we're up to date, up to speed. We're going to item 9.2. Is that correct? Oh, sorry. And this is for appointments to COSLA.
Very briefly, Provost, as explained previously, if you start with the COSLA formula and it's the COSLA appointment, so why wouldn't you? Then you get to, as I said, 1.75, 1.25 and 0.5 across SNP, Labour and Conservative groupings. The 1.75 you may wish to round up to 2, the 1.25 you may wish to round down, and the 0.5 you may wish to round up or down. It's up to council, but obviously, as we said, COSLA doesn't take kindly to folk cutting seats in half. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we'll go with the 2-1-1 formula, and myself and Jim McMahon. Very good.
Thank you. Yep. Councillor Mackay.
Thank you very much. That would be myself. Thank you.
Councillor McFadden.
Yes, by myself.
Thank you. Nearly there, folks. The last item we've got today is Kirking of the Council, page 87, 88. If you've never seen this, but oh, sorry, Leader.
I think James and I should maybe declare an interest to St Margaret's Church.
I think we're okay with that one. Yeah. It's been decided that Kirking of the Council will be at St Margaret's Church on the 26th of June. For anybody that's not been, it's a lovely spectacle. Myself, I'm secular, I'm a pagan, but the churches make you very, very welcome. We're very lucky in our communities. The churches have stepped up to the mark and are really working with the communities. So I would like to invite everyone along on that day. Please come along and have a wonderful day. I'm sure the congregation there will make us very welcome. Is that okay, folks? Councillor Crawford. You're right, Billy. Oh, excuse me. So we have to be there for...
Provost, we don't have a time yet, but we're working with the church and we'll get invites sent out from the Provost office just shortly.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks for keeping us right then. Thank you. Everyone, thank you very much for attendance, and look forward to working with everyone. As I've always said, the door's open, kettle's always on, Planet Rock's always on, and you're welcome in the office anytime, anything at all, anything you want to talk about, in full confidence, please pop in, and I'd love to come around all your communities and work with you, visiting all our wonderful communities in East Ayrshire. And thank you for today. Eddie.
Photograph outside.
We've just been asked, for those that would like to, if you've got your hair done, we're going to go outside and get a photograph with all the councillors. So everybody, please, if you want, we're going to go outside at the main door. Thanks, Robert. Robert will take us out and we'll get a photograph. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, officers. Have a great weekend. Thank you.